All right, well, I started pouring antifreeze in this thing and everything's going fine and la-ti-da, just pouring it in. The next thing I know, I hear water just running out. It turns out that I did not get this gasket in here correctly. Only one side got caught by the bolt and the other side of it just fell down. So as soon as it hit this water neck, it just started to pour out. I love doing things 2 and 3 times. It's my favorite hobby. Hopefully when I go to pour the oil in, that doesn't start spilling everywhere. Jeez. All right, battery died while I was wrapping that up, so who knows what we caught there. Now it's time to put some oil in this thing. Here we go. This thing was completely drained, basically, because it sat with the oil pan off for 4 or 5 days, I think. And I'm guessing drained 99% of the oil out of this thing. E-brake. Choke. Oh. Great. Oh, geez. Okay, so we just smoked the voltage regulator. Or we smoked a wire on the voltage regulator. Not sure why. Yeah, that's not good. I don't know. At least it's not in the actual wiring harness. That's a positive. So it does run. All right, so I think I know what's going on here. I'm pretty sure. So this is, let's get that out of the way. Gotta figure out how to mount that. So this is the battery ground, and it's ground right here in through the frame. One, it's kind of rusty and corroded, and 2, that should be going directly to the block. So it also needs to ground to the frame. So I think I'm going to tie this. I think I'm going to take this cable and put it right to the block, and then I got to tie that back down to the frame. Clean this up, make it a good ground, and then we also need to make sure that we have. I know we have at least one body ground, but we could put another body ground right here off of this and run that down. So all 3 of these will be tied together, body, frame, and engine, all ground. So I think what's happening is, because this is a crappy ground, when it tries to start, it's trying to pull its ground from whatever it can. So it tried to pull the ground from that tiny wire on the regulator, and then I noticed once I unplugged that, it was trying to pull the ground through this choke cable. This choke cable was getting hot, like it was trying to ground through this, and none of that is sufficient enough to ground out the starter when it's trying to start. So time to make some grounds. Let's go see if we got an end to solder on here. I think we do.
I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see from up here. The world seems small.
Now we'll do the other side.
Sit
Flux.
together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors. ever free.
All right, so here's my body ground. It's gonna go right in with the block to frame grounding point where so I cleaned all the bolts, so they should have a good bite, you know, and they should be nice. You should make a good contact with the grounding cable. Alright, moment of truth. This thing did not want to crank after it had initially burnt up that wire, so let's go ahead and connect this good. Okay, let's see if it cranks. Does it crank and run? Oh shit, there goes the GoPro. Alright, you saw it. It runs. It fired up super easy. Very confident now that we fixed the problem. Now I have to fix this, which all I'm going to do, I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to desolder that. We'll get a new wire in there. We'll plug it back in. And hopefully everything works. Good morning, everybody. It's a very chilly morning in the shop. I'm trying to get a good fire going here because we got some painting projects going on and it needs to warm up in here. My buddy Scott's back over and he's been working on painting. These are straps to hold the gas tank down. There's the gas tank itself, air cleaner, you know. So I actually just pulled the valve cover off. My dog did. I just pulled the valve cover off and I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up and sandblasted so we can throw some paint on it as well. Alright, so I got all the tins back on the motor. It's looking pretty nice. And I have discovered a leak. In a past video, I redid this, put it all back together, brand new gaskets, and I'm leaking here. It's just sitting here and dripping. It's crazy. So I guess we're gonna find out together what went wrong here. I'm kind of wondering though if it's coming out of this back gasket here or the front gasket. If it's coming out of the back gasket, that's totally different than me having to take this off, you know. So let's try to figure out what the heck happened here. Alright, so what I saw from the gasket was that it was leaking out of right here. And if you look close enough, you can see a fairly good amount of pitting. Now, I don't know why I didn't really catch this when I was putting it on. I figured, the gasket would help take up some of the room, but I'm gonna put this on a flat piece of something and basically sand it. I want to give it a good surface again. And if I need to, I might actually have to fill in some of this, but I think I could probably sand it out and just see, get it a flat surface. It's got some good pitting here too. Might have to like fill it in with something, I don't know, but that's the plan. I have this piece of granite here, nice, pretty much perfectly flat surface. And then I have this piece of start out at 150 grit because this thing is in pretty bad shape. So I'm gonna lube it up with a little bit of WD-40. And I'm just gonna work it back and forth on here. Flying by. You can kind of see where the scratches are and where they aren't. So you can kind of see like it's hitting a very edge out here mostly and all around here, but it's not really, doesn't seem like it's making good contact with the rest of the flange. So we're just gonna keep sanding it until we get to a point where it's all flat. Yep, I don't know. It's just, I think we're gonna have to try and fill it in and sand it down. Man, if I had a mill, I could go in there and just take a little bit off, but these things are, some of them are pretty deep. Alright, super frustrating. Okay, so I got the switch rebuilt and actually the switch works better. When you pull it out, it goes straight to flashers. I got the gauge panel hooked up just to make sure I'm not having anything weird, happening because it's not hooked up. So that works. The switch seems to work perfectly now. And when it's pushed all the way in, you can still do the turn signals. It all works. So the flashers work, the turn signals work. The brake light still, bam. All it illuminates is this. And I'm trying to wrap my head around why it's doing this. I've unplugged things, I've checked things, I've switched things around. So when the hazard switch is out and you press the brakes, they actually light up or they stop flashing. So I'm not sure if that's exactly the same thing. So I'm trying to still wrap my head around what is going on. I think I might need to pull the brake switch out. It seems like it's working because the fact that it does this, to me seems like the brake switch is working. So once again, I'm at an impasse with the wiring, which is super irritating. I am ready to just be done with this wiring. I want to bolt this. I want to go ahead and bolt this gauge panel back in, or in finally for the final time, but I just can't because I'm chasing around these problems, and that thing's in the way completely of all of this in here. So, once again, I'm at an impasse with the wiring. It's super irritating. So, yeah, we're gonna move on.
All right,
Well, I made this little bracket here because we have this overflow tank that I'm pretty sure is off like an 80s Land Cruiser. So I made a little bracket so I can basically hang it right here. This is definitely not the original on this, so let's put that in real quick. No. Alright, so I decided to do one last thing for the day that actually, you know, gets complete and gets me somewhere. So I decided to put the seat back in after, you know, all the brackets and everything have been painted. And there it is, powering up. It looks good, it works good. Pretty happy with it. Alright, so that's it. Thank you guys for watching. The seat feels great. I'm strapping myself in right now. It feels wonderful. I'm happy to have something actually go my way today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.